every second that you're spending in a situationship is wasting time from the relationship you actually want to be in.
You should be in. If you're in a situationship, you're training yourself to keep your eyes open for another option that could lead you into an affair later on in life that is going to have larger consequences than, I was just kind of in a really awkward, relationship with someone, but we weren't really dating.
I had not considered that, but you're totally right. We've identified 7 signs that you are actually in a situationship, and you might be lying to yourself about it.
Break them down for us, babe.
Okay, sign number 1. This statistic honestly blows my mind a little. 89.5% of the people who watch or listen to this podcast regularly aren't yet subscribers to the show. So before we dive in, could I ask you one thing? If this podcast has ever helped you, if you care about honest, unfiltered conversations around God's design for sex, dating, and relationships, would you hit subscribe? It's free and it helps us more than you know. And our promise to you is this: we'll do everything in our power to make this show the best it can be. We'll take your feedback, we'll keep answering your toughest questions, and there's no conversation around God's design for sex and relationships that we'll shy away from. Thank you.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Let's Talk About It podcast by Moral Revolution. My name is Daniel Madry.
My name is Alice Madry.
And today we have an incredible episode for you.
Incredible.
Yeah, incredible.
I love it. Okay.
I'm pumped about this conversation.
Energy out the gate.
I literally tore through these notes.
You did.
I'm so pumped. We're talking about the concept of what if you're friends, but you're not? You know what I mean? You're really not friends. You're
That's
a little
right.
more than friends.
Are you just friends or are you lying to yourself?
Absolutely.
I think that's the question that needs answering today.
It sounds like a classic situationship.
That's right.
To me.
We are breaking down situationships today. How to know if you're in one, what you should do if you're in one, and how to move forward.
Absolutely. What about maybe why we're in them?
Yep. Okay. We are also going there. I think as we get this thing off the ground, it's important that we have some working definitions.
Let's do it.
Okay. So the cultural word for these almost relationships, we already said, would be a situationship. We are talking about a relationship that has the emotional time and energy investment of dating, but without the title, without the exclusivity, and more than anything, without the clarity.
And some people say with the benefits.
Yes, we'll get there.
We'll get to the benefits.
We will get to the benefits. Let me say this. I think it's important to say up front, there are two valid categories, which would be friendship and dating. And situationship would be a third, somewhat invalid category.
Let me bring this up because I think it's very interesting to note that, are we friends? Are we dating? Those are like rock solid and crystal clear. I think where the real danger of this comes in is we're talking.
Yep.
We're talking.
Yep.
We're talking.
Still talking.
We're kissing.
Oh.
we're doing. And so what we're not saying is we're not saying that you shouldn't talk, you shouldn't court, you shouldn't on-ramp into relationships. Sure. But we're saying you got to know that there comes a point when we are no longer talking and we're defining the relationship.
I don't want to invalidate the true talking stage, right? Because I think some people are different.
Absolutely.
You want to break that down for us?
Well, here's the deal. I think you've got guys like me, and then you've got guys not like me. Okay. 2 categories. Okay. Sure. Where do you find yourself? Let us know in the comments. Guys like me are like, you're hot, you're fun, you're cool, let's date. That's all I need to know. Like, you love Jesus. Okay. You love Jesus. All right. Some people are like, you didn't say they loved God.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
it was the prerequisite.
It's understood. I'm not considering you if you don't love God.
Yeah.
There's other people who, see, now I feel bad.
Okay.
For me, not for them.
Great.
They're a little more thoughtful.
Sure.
They're a little more careful.
Yeah.
They're a little more like, I want to get to know them.
Yes.
I want to take their time. I don't think that that second category of guy is the person that is in danger of being in a situationship. Because that's probably also the same caliber of guy who's like, maybe I want to, really healthily date several years before deciding if I want to get married, or I can be engaged an extended period of time, and they live that out with honor. And then you have guys like me who are like, yeah, let's date today.
Yeah.
Let's get engaged in 6 months. Let's get married in 3 weeks. How does that sound?
It sounded good to me.
And here we are talking about it online now.
Yeah. I think the differentiating factor in any situation or situationship is going to be clarity or not having clarity.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you have someone who's like you, or the other type of person that you described who's just a little bit more thoughtful and wants to take their time, both of those approaches are valid as long as there's clarity involved in it. Where it gets dangerous and where I think compromise creeps in is where we are getting our emotional and or physical needs met in a relationship that has no clarity around that relationship is, around what that relationship is. And that starts to get dangerous really, really fast.
Absolutely. And I think you're there if someone asks you about the relationship and your cortisol levels spike. You're like, change the subject, or we don't know, or whatever. Like, you give some like sort of off answer. That is the telltale sign of, I'm lying to myself. This makes me visibly uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about this, because if I'm being honest with myself, I'm in a situationship.
Sure. I do think there are some stereotypically masculine versus feminine reasons that guys versus girls end up in a situationship.
Let's get into that.
Okay. So I think a lot of guys would land here. Situationships give them access without responsibility. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like, I want to know if she's interested, but I don't have to actually risk the rejection and get the no. So I'm just going to kind of linger in this in-between phase for a while because that feels safer to me. Any commentary there?
Yeah, I'm thinking, I feel like if a guy is in a situationship, they know the girl is interested, they just don't want to commit. I think that's probably more often the case.
Okay.
Like, it could be that they're scared to some degree. Yeah, and now that I'm saying it, that certainly could be true. But I think a lot of guys, from the male perspective, it's like, I want the convenience, I don't want the commitment.
Yeah.
Right? I want the benefits, I don't want the burden.
Sure. I think that the female perspective, or where girls land in this situation, comes from a bit of a different place. I think a lot of women, if they're being honest with themselves, know that they're in a situationship, even if they're denying it. And they're scared to ask for the clarity on it, because feeling partially chosen feels better than being fully rejected.
Babe, that's good. And I think you're right. Yeah. I think the reality is there is a micro hit of like, this feels good, even though it's incomplete. Yeah. It's synthetic. It doesn't have the security, as the foundation. Yeah. And, yeah, I think you're absolutely right with that.
Because in these types of relationships, you are getting an emotional need met to a certain degree. And I think women will tell ourselves, well, that's connection. Like, that will suffice. I'm getting this. But at the end of the day, you're not deeply satisfied or fulfilled. You're just scared to get the full rejection of, maybe he hasn't defined it because he's truly not interested.
I kind of got a word for anyone in that situation. You are literally preventing the relationship you want by staying in the relationship that you don't need.
Dang.
Like, you cannot move forward if your relationship status is anchored in a situationship. Yeah. And I'm just going through the Rolodex of my 20s, and you know what sometimes happens, and this is probably what most girls in your situation are looking for. Okay. They're either looking for the man to miraculously say, I want to be with you, which is not likely to happen, or they're looking for someone on the side to rescue them out of it.
Dang.
Gosh, that is the weakest form of rescue you can imagine. Have some self-respect, break the relationship, know your worth, know your value, and wait to be pursued by someone who sees value in you.
Oh, man. Bars. I love it. Okay. I think we need to dive into the diagnostics of how do I know? Maybe someone's gotten this far into the episode and they're like, I don't know. Maybe I'm still.
This is free too. Sometimes whenever I take my car to get diagnosed, cost money.
Yeah.
Hook it up to the computer. I'm paying a bill. This is free 99, baby.
This is free.
This is gonna pay you.
Yes. Okay. So I think that we've identified 7 signs that you are actually in a situationship, and you might be lying to yourself about it.
Break them down for us, babe.
Okay, sign number 1. You feel jealous when that person hangs out with someone else of the opposite sex.
Wow.
Yeah.
You feel a little territorial.
You do.
You're kind of like,
The translation on that would be is you have claimed them privately without claiming them publicly. Because internally you feel like they're yours. And so they shouldn't be allowed to hang out with someone else. Okay?
That's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge sign. Big red flag that you're in a situation.
That's right. Sign number 2. You text every single day for I would say for a significant period of time. You've never been on a real date.
I'm a little torn on this one.
Okay.
Because,
tell us why.
Because in my 20s, I felt like I had some really good. Now, every day is excessive.
Sure.
And, every day for a few days is different than every day for a year. You know what I mean? Or
a month.
You can take it to an extreme for clarity. But, I know that in the young adult community, whenever everyone's finding their way, maybe there are times when I am talking and we are friends. Maybe I don't hit the first checkpoint of if this person got into a relationship, it would, or is spending time with another guy or girl that it throws me off. So I think you have to look at this diagnostic checkpoint with nuance.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like if we're being honest with ourselves, we know when we're getting our emotional needs met because we're expecting that we're going to hear from that person. Like when I wake up in the morning and I know I'm going to hear from this person because I've heard from this person every day for the last month.
But we've got a streak.
No.
I'm joking. Let me say this though. As I'm kind of recollecting on my past.
Sure.
Did I use that word right? Go on. Tell me if I used it wrong.
Recollecting?
Let me be creative with my language, okay? Right. As I'm recollecting on my past, someone in the comments is like, illiterate.
Reconsidering.
Yeah. As I'm reflecting.
There we go.
That would be more accurate. As I'm reflecting on my past, actually, there were girls that I would probably talk to for an extended period of time, and I felt okay about it because I knew there was nothing there. So it felt safe to talk to them.
Had you been clear?
Yeah.
Okay, but that was the very first differentiator between a situationship or not, is there's clarity.
You and I talked on the back end is that sometimes you're like, you can be clear, but the other party will hold out. Sure. So, you can't definitively say just because I was clear, it was okay. And I think that was probably true in some circumstances, but I would say it felt safe to talk to them often because I knew there was nothing there and I enjoyed their friendship.
Sure.
Once again, that's a gray area.
Yeah.
I think it's a gray area. That's why I say number 2, consider with nuance.
Yeah, I love it. Number 3, you would be devastated if they started dating someone else. I feel like that goes along with number 1.
I'm hurting just thinking about that.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Honestly, it's an easy way to make the break, though.
It does create room for a clean break.
What about whenever them dating someone translates into anger and then everything is just easier? You're like, I didn't like them anyways. I can think of 1,000 bad things about them.
Wow.
I'll pray for that, girly.
Oh, nice.
She's going to need it.
Yeah, sure. Okay, sign number 4. You have prayed about marrying them, but you've never asked them out.
I can't say that I've dealt with that.
No?
Someone out there has been there, but that's not me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
I would say
someone out there has been there.
If you're bringing that to to the big man upstairs.
Sure.
If the good Lord has heard about this relationship and it doesn't have a title, it's gone too far.
Totally. And I would say that this one is in conjunction with some of these other signs, right? Because every now and then you see someone out in the wild and you're like, Lord, is that him? You know what I mean? Like that's not what I'm talking about. Or her. That's right. Okay, sign number 5, you hide the closeness from your community.
That's a big red flag. And that's what I was talking about earlier, where you've got that cortisol spike whenever someone asks you about them. Yeah. And I would say this is a clear indicator that you know something is amiss. That there is a lack of, I would say, maybe even to use a more spiritual term, there is a lack of peace in where we're currently at.
Yeah. Not only that you know something is amiss, but you low-key don't want to be accountable for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Sign number 6, you are sharing your prayers, secrets, you're processing emotional things, you're bonding emotionally at a dating couple depth, but there has not been any clarity given.
Yeah, largely.
Yep.
I agree with that largely.
Okay, and sign number 7, you have physically crossed lines that do not match the relationship status.
Yeah, that's a clear indicator that something is wrong in this relationship. I want to go back to number 6 real quick.
Oh, okay.
Because I think as I was considering it, you saw the wheels turning.
Yeah.
As I was considering it, one of the things that actually I heard from you is you were talking about if I'm talking to a person about the future as if they're in it.
Yes.
Now that is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a talking relationship or a friendship or a situationship and you start talking about, oh, we're going to go on this trip and this, and you know that those are kind of like commitment trips.
Yes.
Like we're not on that level. Like we're not doing that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then I think that is some synthetic connection where you're trying to get a hit of security by hijacking the future.
Dang.
Your future maxing.
So maybe the future maxing.
Cut that out.
No, don't cut it out. Leave it in. Yeah. So, actually maybe there's 8 signs. maybe that was.
I think it fits in with number 6.
Okay. Maybe
let's
6
go to
2.
number 7 though.
All right. You physically cross lines that don't match the relationship status.
Yeah. Stop hooking up.
Yeah.
You can't be hooking up with each other if we don't have a title.
No.
And I'm saying, what do I mean by I'm talking about kiss? I'm clearly identifying that as kissing. Certainly you shouldn't go any further than that.
Sure.
I think if a situationship has crossed in a physical line, I think first off, whether that was your intention or not, people will find ourselves in these positions at times. I think that's a great opportunity to stick a stake in the ground to say, this went too far.
Hold on.
Yeah. Let's pause. Let's backpedal. Are we in a relation? Is this something we're going to do? Are we going to be in a relationship together?
Yeah.
So although, we're not promoting that by any sense, that could actually be a line in the sand where you get the clarity, because that person might be like, you know what? I'm sorry. I should have never done that. I'm going to take responsibility for my part in that. And actually, now that I've gone there, I really feel like this isn't something I want to pursue.
Totally. And, as we kind of dive deeper into the conversation around why situations happen or why we end up in situationships, I think there are 3 main drivers here.
Go on.
The first would be a fear of rejection. You would rather have the ambiguity than hear a no.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think people over-index on how scary rejection is.
Yeah. Okay. Number 2 would be the fear of commitment. So you want the warmth, you want the safety without the weight of I'm going to be accountable in a relationship.
I think for men, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
That's probably the lion's share of people in relationships. Men who are in situationships, rather.
Sure. And then the third, I don't know how common this one is, but I think it's valid, would be control. Okay. So keeping keeping things undefined keeps you in the driver's seat.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why you would end up in a situationship. But let's talk about what it's costing you, right?
That's right.
Because I think people are not considering the cost.
Totally.
And that's why they're giving agency to be really in a situation they don't want to be in.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head at the beginning of the episode, because you basically said every second that you're spending in a situationship is wasting time from the relationship you actually want to be in.
You should be in. Yeah. And the other thing is, if I'm interested in a girl who I see is in a situationship with a guy, it doesn't do a lot for me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be a rescuer. I'm not trying to get, I'm like, wow, it starts to bring up some questions in my mind. So I even think on the attraction piece, it could make you less attractive to outside people if that's the status you're stuck in.
Sure. There's a scripture in Song of Solomon that talks about not awaking love before its time. And I think there's a lot of most of the time when you hear this scripture used, it's almost always used in the physical sense of a relationship. Like, let's not awaken things sexually until we're in a season where that is within God's design for it to be sustained, right? Like, people would use that verse a lot to say, okay, let's not have sex before marriage. Like, let's wait until marriage to start having sex. But I think that there's an element of wisdom in it when it's applied emotionally as well. Like, I'm not going to awaken love in a relationship that doesn't have the framework or the clarity to build an emotional bond that's safe enough to sustain it, because it would be unwise to put my eggs in this basket while it actually can't bear any weight.
Right. And I'm kind of thinking about, as you were reading that, and I forgot that this was something that we had discussed. But I'm thinking about how true that is about so many different things, and how once something is awakened, and there's that desire and there's that pull, it robs you of today.
Wow.
It really does. And the thing is, sometimes the reason why it's not awakened, like clearly in the Song of Solomon, is that you don't have the framework or the character or the experience or whatever it is to maintain that thing you're longing for, which very well could be true with, with situationships. You obviously, maybe there's a crack in somewhere in your relationships that are causing you to stay there.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, like, even things like, money. People long to, I want more money, but they might not have the character to steward that money or the things that you see people who come into, obscene amounts of wealth. I say wealth, riches, and then they end up bankrupt.
Yeah.
Why? Because they didn't know how to steward it. And so I think that in that same vein, being in a relationship as if it was committed, though it is not, really robbing yourself of the future.
That's right. And so when we're talking about the real cost, I think awakening love before its time would be one of them. I think self-deception would be another.
Yeah, it's a bad habit to get good at lying to yourself.
It is a bad habit.
You know what I mean? And, I've said it before on the podcast, but my mentor said, Daniel, gosh, how do I remember this moment just, 15, 20 years later?
Yeah.
He's like, Daniel, the hardest thing for a person to do is to be honest with themselves. And that's, you've heard it said differently, you judge people based off their actions, but you based off of your intentions.
Sure.
You know what I mean? What is that? That's saying I'm lying to myself.
Yeah.
I didn't intend to do X, Y, and Z. I think it takes maturity, character, wisdom, all of those things to be absolutely honest with yourself. And when we're in, if you're in a situationship, if you're choosing it, you at least need to be honest and say, this isn't what I want. I think I deserve better. This is not healthy for my future. Nothing good is going to come from this. I'm probably going to end up with a lot of heartbreak at the end of it. But if I'm being honest, it's just what I want. Well, okay. Well, you already know what the future holds for you because you just listed it out. But I think you need to have a level of sobriety if you're choosing to entertain a situationship.
Yeah, that's so true.
And if you don't, let me be the sobriety for you. It's probably going to waste a lot of good dating time. You're probably going to end up with a bigger broken heart afterwards. It doesn't do a lot, for someone else who might want to pursue you in terms of what kind of values does this person hold.
Sure.
Et cetera, et cetera.
We started the episode by saying, are you just friends or are you lying to yourself? And the reality is saying you're just friends when you're not doesn't make you just friends.
At least be honest. Are you guys just friends? No, we kiss though.
You are training yourself to lie to yourself.
And I think, if we had a panel of people in situationships and we were asked this question, why are you in a situationship? And they could only be honest, that their answers would be like, because I don't think I deserve better. Because I like kissing someone. Because I don't want to feel lonely. Yeah. Because I'm not brave enough to face rejection, because it's all of these things that they don't like, right? Yeah. So let's pursue healing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let's at least be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, it's so good. Okay, the real cost, awakening love before it's time, self-deception. The other cost that I have written down is pattern formation. Because the reality is you are training yourself to show up in relationships this way.
This is what's interesting. Because I was thinking about this earlier. It's fun whenever you're in a momentary situationship in your 20.
Yeah.
It is concerning when you carry that into your 30s and touching your 40s, because all of a sudden you have developed a palate, a taste. And it is, I only know being rejected and accepted simultaneously.
Yeah. I
only know good enough. That is dangerous. And honestly, I've seen, one comes to mind where I think this girl would have gotten married to this guy. She stuck around for years.
This is someone you know?
Yeah. Okay. Years.
Yeah.
Years. She's approaching 40. She wasted her prime dating years on a guy who was never going to marry her. Mm. If that's you, get out. Mm-hmm. You need a father to come up beside you and say, you deserve so much better. Get out of that relationship. Yeah. You're going to ruin the most beautiful thing that the Lord has for you. Mm. And every situationship isn't unto, oh no, I'm no longer going to get married and have kids.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because it's super common that people would stumble into that. But there are these outlier scenarios where it will shipwreck.
If you lie to yourself long enough and you train yourself to accept ambiguity long enough, you will end up in a situation that you never wanted to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That you chose every day.
That you chose.
Every day.
That's painful. Okay. We got some listener questions, specifically around situationships.
Perfect.
Okay. I'm gonna fire them off. There's 4 of them. You ready? Someone asked, how do you love people but not lead them on?
Well, I feel like loving people is serving people. You know what I mean? Loving people is considering them. It is preferring them. It's not necessarily being attached to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I don't think that, in this scenario, if the definition of love and situationship was synonymous, then everyone that you're trying to love,
sure,
you would be in a situationship with.
Yeah.
So I don't think that maybe that's the right way to approach it. But I would say if there's someone you're interested in, you can love them, you can serve them, you can give them preference, but you have to have boundaries.
Yeah.
Right? Of saying, hey, like I can show you that you mean something to me, but that doesn't mean you get to have me.
Right.
Unless you're pursuing me.
I would say in the context of a situationship, the most loving thing you could do is be honest. Is just put your cards on the table and say, okay, let's have an honest conversation here. Let's bring some clarity into the situation. The second question we got was, what's the difference, or where's the line between being flirty and friendly?
Well, I think if you're flirty or friendly long enough, then you might find yourself in a situationship. But I do think you have to be, well, I think there's two things. Number one, you have to be honest about your intentions. Why am I being perceived this way? You have to have self-awareness to be like, although I'm just being friendly,
Sure.
yeah, I could see where this would be interpreted as something other than being friendly.
Sure.
So maybe I should adjust.
I would say that the assessment shouldn't be of your intentions. The assessment should be, because sure, maybe
Right.
you're meaning to be friendly and you're coming across as flirty and you're justifying it by saying, well, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, well, the assessment shouldn't be based on your intentions. The assessment should be, would this behavior look weird if it was directed toward someone of the same sex? Would this behavior be weird if it was directed toward someone that I am definitely not attracted to?
Right.
Okay. Well, we can leave our intentions at the door and we can start being honest.
Well, I think it's always good to consider your intentions because it does matter. It's a good starting place, the door.
Yeah.
But awareness, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, question number 3. If you are not officially dating, is it okay to go on a date with someone else?
Once again, very nuanced.
Sure.
If you're talking to someone and they think that you're exclusively talking to them, could be a slap in the face if you're dating someone else.
Yeah.
Even if you could very justifiably be like, well, we're not dating. We're not in a relationship. We don't have a title. I thought it was fine if I went on another date. I think if you're going to be considering dating other people, you need to let the other person know up front. That's just kind of a respect thing.
Totally.
Because no one wants to be caught off guard with, well, that's the person that I thought I was talking to, but there they are with someone else.
Yeah. I would say if you are asking this question, you are probably looking to justify your actions. And the wisest thing you could do is just have a define the relationship conversation. Even if you don't feel like it's necessary on your end, but you know, oh, this person thinks that we're more than we are, before they just find out through the grapevine that you're taking someone else on a date, I think it would be kind to provide some clarity.
Absolutely.
Okay, the last question, number 4. What do you do when you're open and intimate with someone, but they aren't open and intimate back to you?
You're not in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to digress your intimacy to the level of their intimacy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The mismatch is the answer. Like, you're looking for an answer and it was in the question. If you're not getting it back, then you need to
stop giving it.
Stop giving it. Exactly.
Let me say one more thing.
Okay.
This came to my mind. I thought if you're currently in a situationship and maybe you're waiting to be rescued, I think you are training yourself to fall in love when you're committed to someone else. I think because if you're in a situationship, the connection and fake commitment is there, or you would not keep coming back.
Sure.
So there is a level of commitment and connection there. You're training yourself to keep your eyes open for another option. That is, I would say that could lead you into an affair later on in life that is going to have larger consequences than, oh, I was just kind of in a really awkward, relationship with someone, but we weren't really dating.
Dang, that's so good. I had not considered that, but you're totally right. Okay, I think we need to talk about the way out. Like, someone's been listening to this for, however long we've been chatting, and they're going, okay, yeah, it's me. Like, I know it's me. I'm leaving my self-deception behind. It's me. What do I do? Where do I go from here?
You have 24 hours to break up with this person.
Or
you don't want it.
going to say. Or have a define the relationship conversation and give them a chance to opt in.
You're right. I was coming from the perspective that you were stuck in a situationship because you knew nothing was going to come from it.
Okay, yeah. No,
but there are situationships that do move forward onto marriage and kids.
That's right. Regardless, you've got 24 hours.
You've got 24 hours.
Yeah.
If you know you've been in it too long with a lack of clarity, you have 24 hours from right now to get clarity because you owe it to yourself.
That's right. So I would say option number 1 is define the relationship in the next 24 hours. Option 2 goes right along with option number 1, which is ask them out on a real first date. No ambiguity about it. But somehow that leads right back to define the relationship.
DTR on that date during dessert.
During dessert. Don't leave the restaurant.
The thing is, we're splitting this cheesecake right there, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Defining this relation. Do you want to keep splitting cheesecakes?
What a lead-in, honestly. Very smooth.
I would love it if you just kept paying for my meals.
Wow. Okay, option number 3. You're able to name what it is and put some space there and let it die.
Yeah. This is unhealthy.
Yep.
I'm ending it right now.
I am getting an emotional need met that I actually should not be getting met from you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then option number 4 is become actual friends. Don't lie to yourself about, but we have been friends. No, treat them how you treat every other friend you've got. And I actually think if you're going to take this route, it still needs to be something that's communicated.
I almost think that if someone has that much self-control to actually be friends, they're likely not in a situationship. I think a lot of people in situationships need hard boundaries because they're not good at them to begin with.
So you don't think that someone who's in a situationship could actually pull back and be friends?
There are people who can. It's not likely.
Okay.
That's not going to be your majority.
No.
If anything, if you're in a situationship and maybe you're good at lying to yourself, this is your option because you're like, oh, I'm just going to pull back and we'll be friends.
Yeah.
But once again, you're lying to yourself.
Sure. I would say this. In none of these options is drift or ambiguity the answer. I think all 4 of the options presented require clear communication, which is the exact antithesis of the situationship to begin with, is we are in a relational dynamic that does not have clarity.
So anytime something is cloudy, all it needs is a little bit of clarity. Easy to say, hard to do, always produces good results.
So good.
Well, babe, this has been a great conversation. I've enjoyed it so much. I love the things that just randomly come out. Probably more for me than you. But
right.
Anyways, guys, thanks for joining us today. I want to remind you that Moral Revolution has a course called Date Well. It's specifically built for men or women. So there's 2 different courses. If you are looking to level up your dating life, if you're looking to learn how to navigate situations like this a little better, head on over to moralrevolution.com. Select shop or courses, something like that. And it'll take you to a Date Well page where you can learn more about the program and potentially join. But babe, that's all I have today. Do you have anything else?
I got nothing else. Stop lying to yourself. You got this. Define the relationship, do the thing, bring some clarity, and let's walk out some healthier relationships.
It's going to be a great day. See you later.
You know that feeling when someone sends you the exact thing you needed to hear? If this episode speaks to you, if it brings clarity, healing, or it just makes you feel seen, chances are someone you love needs it too. So here's our ask to you. Share it, text it to a friend, post it. You never know how one conversation, one click could change everything for someone else. We know we're not just building an audience here, we're building a movement. So thanks for being a part of it.